Let's talk about our beloved president. Show some respect. He's in a bit of a tough situation right now since he ran on fixing the economy.
From soaring inflation and job insecurity to rising healthcare costs, Americans are feeling the pressure. These problems are progressing while the president fails to deliver the leadership people hoped for. Here is why Trump isn't prioritizing the U.S. biggest issues. If you have been following political headlines recently, you might be scratching your head. And with all these serious problems on the national plate, you would think that any leader, especially the one who ran on a platform of making America great and fixing the economy, would be completely focused on these major issues. But what do we perceive instead? A circus of distractions. It's as if while the house is on fire, the person with the fire hose is busy hosting a talent show on the front lawn. It might have something to do with Trump's love of spectacle and a media strategy that could be titled "Look Over Here." But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, let's recap some of the greatest hits of Trump's recent focus and how they stack up against those urgent issues like jobs, prices, and healthcare. Starting off with the Alcatraz distraction. Trump wants to reopen Alcatraz, which is one of the stranger news of the past few days. Yes, the notorious island jail in San Francisco Bay known as Alcatraz, which was shut down in 1963 and is today a tourist attraction. In order to jail the most ruthless and violent criminals in America, Trump declared his intention to rebuild and reopen Alcatraz. Now, no one's denying that crime is a real concern. But let's be real, does resurrecting a 60-year-old prison solve the modern crime wave?
Decide to reopen Alcatraz. Can you walk us through that decision?
Did I say what?
To reopen Alcatraz, how will you use it? How did you come up with the idea?
Well, I guess I was supposed to be a movie maker. We started with the movie making and we'll end. I mean, it represents something very strong, very powerful in terms of law and order. Our country needs law and order. Alcatraz is, I would say, the ultimate, right? Alcatraz, Sing Sing and Alcatraz, the movies. But it's right now a museum, believe it or not. A lot of people go there. It housed the most violent criminals in the world, and nobody ever escaped. One person almost got there, but they, as you know the story, they found his clothing rather badly ripped up. And it was a lot of shark bites, a lot of problems. Nobody's ever escaped from Alcatraz, and just represented something strong having to do with law and order. We need law and order in this country.
The worst part is that other concerns continue to be neglected as Trump promotes this tough-on-crime rhetoric. How can the typical American who is struggling with inflation or medical expenses benefit from a renovated island prison? If prisons aren't your thing, how about football? Trump announced that the 2027 NFL Draft will take place on the National Mall in Washington. Hosting the draft isn't a bad thing. It's the first time DC gets the event since 1940, and it'll bring in tourists and give the city some national attention.
I'm pleased to reveal that the 2027 NFL Draft, that's a big thing, will be held right here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., on the National Mall. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be something that nobody else will ever be able to duplicate that, I don't suspect. It's very exciting. Every year, hundreds of young football players have their dreams come true as the NFL teams across the land, and you just saw that last week. Select the best young players in America to join their ranks. Hundreds of thousands of football fans will travel all across our country to cheer them on in person. We expect, would you say, more than 100,000 people, I think.
But let's consider this in a larger context. Economic instability, poor salaries, and inflation are problems for millions of Americans. The Fed has warned about trade wars, job losses, and rising prices. Yet presidential time is being spent on promoting an NFL party 2 years away. It's the ultimate bread and circuses move: throw a spectacle and hope people cheer. Imagine a family struggling to afford groceries, asking, "What's the president doing to help?" And your answer will be that he's excited about the 2027 NFL Draft. Sports are fun, but they don't lower rent or cover healthcare. As if prisons and sports weren't enough, Trump recently dabbled in religious cosplay. Only a few days after Pope Francis's death, and with a solemn conclave set to start, Trump shared an artificial intelligence AI-generated image of himself on social media, complete with papal mitre and white cassock, dressed as the Pope.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. Some Catholics were not so happy about the image of you looking like the Pope.
You don't mean the Catholics, you mean the fake news media. Not the Catholics loved it. I had nothing to do with it. Somebody made up a picture of me dressed like the Pope, and they put it out on the internet. That's not me that did it. I have no idea where it came from. Maybe it was AI, but I know nothing about it. I just saw it last evening. Actually, my wife thought it was cute. She said, "Isn't that nice?"
My question about
Actually, I would not be able to be married, though. That would be a lot. I'd have to the best of my knowledge, popes aren't big on getting married, are they? Not that we know of, no.
The backlash was swift. Catholics and others found it offensive and tasteless. A conference of Catholic bishops in New York publicly scolded Trump, calling it disrespectful. Italy's former Prime Minister Matteo Renzi called it shameful, saying it offends believers and insults institutions, especially as the U.S. economy flirts with recession and the dollar slides. However, he posted it as president, making it instantly political and newsworthy. By now, a pattern might be emerging. Trump's tenure and campaigns often feel like a never-ending media circus. One day, it's Pope Trump. The next, it's Alcatraz 2.0, then an NFL celebration. Media critics argue that this isn't chaos, it's strategy. The term is flooding the zone, overwhelm the public with so much outrageous content that it's impossible to focus on any one issue. So instead of focusing on skyrocketing insulin costs, poverty rates, or the federal deficit, the media was talking about Pope Donald Trump distracted the media by drawing attention with theatrics and successfully dodging serious questions.
The point being, yesterday, Trump sat down for an interview with NBC's Meet the Press host, Kristen Welker, and the challenge was clear. The president had to find a way to persuasively take credit for the remaining good parts of the economy while subtly assigning blame to Joe Biden for the bad on fire parts. Let's see how Trump threaded this rhetorical needle.
I think the good parts are the Trump economy and the bad parts are the Biden economy.
Nailed it. He went right at it. No attempt at persuasion or allegory or metaphor. Trump, good, Biden, bad. He's a regular Shakespeare.
Why isn't Trump prioritizing our biggest issues? After reviewing his recent circus acts, the answer seems clear. The circus is the point. Tackling unemployment, inflation, or healthcare is hard. These issues require serious policy, tough compromises, and real accountability, none of which generates instant applause or viral headlines. But promising to reopen Alcatraz or posting a meme as the Pope, that guarantees media buzz and online chatter. It's politics by distraction. Every outrageous stunt shifts focus from serious failures. If we're arguing over an NFL photo op, we're not asking why poverty isn't improving or why housing remains unaffordable. Like a magician's trick, the spectacle hides the real inaction. Families still struggle with bills. Ultimately, it falls to us, the press and the public, to stay focused. We need less performance and more policy. The show will end, the problems won't. It's time we demanded more than just a spotlight. We need solutions. And that wraps up our look at why Trump isn't tackling the real problems. Is this leadership or just distraction? If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more straight talk on today's biggest issues.